All right. So next up is parallel compression. So the way that I'm routing it, again, we have a clean channel in channels 1 and 2, or so like the clean drum bus, and then we have parallel compression in 3 and 4. I'm sorry. So right now I'm just letting you hear the parallel compression of what we're doing. So we're heading out of the summing mixer, and we're first hitting our parallel compression with this. This is a Warm Audio 1176, or a Warm 76, I guess they call it. All right, so I won't go into settings too much, but I have a very fast release, and my attack is around like 11 o'clock. It's on 7 at this, and I am doing a ratio of 4-1. Nothing crazy. Again, we're trying to bring out, for me, what I'm trying to do is with the parallel compression, again, bring up squash some of those transients, not too much. I don't want to hear the 1176. It has a very distinct sound, and I'm going for more a jazzy thing. So I don't want to hear the compression happening, but I want to have some of those harmonic things in the high end and in the snare. You know, all those sounds that you hear when you play, we're going to start bringing that out to blend in with our clean. So when you're doing analog like this, there's no delay. It's great. You're coming in and out of the summing mixer. There's no latency. So you can really bring in that parallel without having really any issues phase-wise. So that's why, I don't know, I love the analog world. And I know digital, same thing, but man, phase sucks. And when you're just practicing, you know, it's just, it feels great. So I'll let you hear. Like I tried to level match. You'll see you're hearing just the input from the Neve, and you're only hearing right now the parallel compressed signal. So there's no clean signal in here at all. So this is out of 2 Warm 76s, and you can see the amount of compression happening. But here we go. First round, or first stop with the parallel compression chain. Yeah. So again, it's nothing like nuts, but you'll notice like where before there was not much happening up in here, right? And we're starting to see a little cymbals come through, but these volumes stay the same. So we're starting to bring up some of this information here that is really harmonic and nice to make it sound full and just really full. Now, by itself, just compressing a signal and then blending it in. Like if I were to add it right now, here it is mixed in with the clean. It doesn't sound bad, but it's not. You're just kind of like adding a little bit in there, right? Parallel compression, you almost have to like, EQ some of it, to really kind of make it stand out where you want. And then it really makes a little more difference when you add just a little bit of it. Like right now, I would have to add a lot of parallel compression, which I think would just in turn, again, amplify unnecessary things. And this is just, again, like the first stop on the parallel compression. Next step is these LA2As, the Clark Tenic clones. Obviously, I don't have the real things, but I mean, most of the time I'm using this for practice and stream, but I want that sound and that analog thing. So one day we'll get the real thing, but this will be the next step. So I love the way that the 1176s first just kind of control the dynamics, and I love the sound of it. They're very fast. It's a very fast compressor, but when you push it too hard, they can be very destructive very quick. The LA2As are an optical compressor. This is where I'm going to bring back some warmth into the equation. So again, kind of control some dynamics there, but now bring in some more saturation and fuzz and just some more warmy compression sounds without, it's more of a slower, easier compression if you keep it kind of tame. So again, max I'm taking out on the 76s dB wise, probably 3, maybe 5 if I really start going crazy. And then we'll move on over here. You'll see what happens there. Okay, so next up is a little camera change here. These really cool, again, they aren't the most expensive thing in the world, but the Clark Tenic, I guess that's what you would call them. They're great. So it's a LA 2A optical compressor clone. I have it on compress. I'm not doing any like pre-emphasis or like, anything like that, any filtering, but I'm just, again, I'm going for like 2-3 dB of gain after the 1176s, just to add some of that like warmth that these things do. They smooth it out, and I really like how it sounds. So I'll let you hear what that sounds like and let you see. Again, just start to notice, you're hearing just the parallel compression, but notice like everything's starting to pop up in here. Stuff's really starting to come alive. And some of this information that was maybe down here because of the peaks from the snare attack, it's starting to come up and be a little more in your ear harmonically. So here is the 1176 and LA2A. Sounds nice. I'll put on the clean just so you guys can see. It's basically clean in this. I'm at full, so it's going to sound pretty awful, but you'll hear maybe what adding the clean channel does to it. Yeah. So one last stop on our parallel chain. and that is to EQ after the compression. So we're compressing the signal, right? But I'm wanting to add some of that high end and kind of some of that low end, those harmonics. So the best thing for that is a Pultec style. So yeah, we'll do that next. Again, if you're parallel compressing, you don't just want to add the same sound to what you already have. You want to kind of add a more enhanced version of what you want it to sound like, right? But not fully processed. So we're just adding a little bit of touch up. And I think like that smiley face, that low and that high from the Pultec style EQ at the end of the 76 and the 2A is the icing on the cake. So that's the next stop. Okay, so we have two Lindell audio EQs. They're great. The PEQ 501As. They take up 2 rack units, but for the price, I think they're just fantastic. What I am doing, we'll flip these on here in a second. I'm not doing any attenuation of the high end, but I am boosting around 8K, and the curve of it is at 8. I'm boosting 5. So we're doing a nice little boost. Again, this is just the parallel compressed signal. And then at 60, I'm attenuating 2 and I'm boosting it 2. So I'm kind of tightening, getting rid of those low lows, but also kind of boosting where the kick drum is and maybe like the floor tom in the parallel signal. So what we'll do is I'll play just the parallel track, parallel compression track, and first with no EQ at the end of it, and then we'll add the EQ. So here we go. So you'll notice when I turned it on, it was like almost this breath of fresh air came in on the high end and tightened up the low end. It wasn't so muddy. It's pretty cool. You know, it's like a neat little trick. But again, what we'll do next is we'll blend in this parallel compression and the natural clean sound. So to sum up the parallel, 1176 LA2A and some Pultec style EQ. You could do this on a DAW too. It doesn't have to be analog, but that's my parallel signal. And we'll talk about percentages of that next. So, yeah. Okay, now let's talk kind of mixture, right? So this is our clean and this is our parallel track. I'll turn the parallel all the way off and we'll start playing, and I'll slowly start to bring in the parallel. And you'll notice, again, like just these, it's like down in here, right? All these like lower volume harmonics start to come up a little bit more, get amplified. And especially with like that Pultec adding that air, instead of EQing the main cymbal track just to get like this, you know, nice airy cymbal sound, add it in the parallel and it's not as abrasive. But check it out. Yeah. I mean, it's very subtle, right? If I were to crank on the EQs right now and try to add some air, it just, it would boost all this extra stuff that I don't really want. So adding just a little bit in parallel, compressed, it brings in the nice harmonics, brings in just a little bit of that compressed or that EQ'd signal. And I think it does it very tastefully rather than like jarring or mega processed. But again, this is a natural sound. The next step would be this output. Pretty much, we'll talk about reverb in a little bit. That'll probably be one of the last things to taste. But we have our clean, our parallel. Now we're going out to our output processing or our master bus processing. And this has a silk option too. Before we leave, I'm adding some high-end, high-frequency silk with this red silk. I'll play this again, and we'll turn on the red silk, and then we'll work on our output processing. It's really just compression. That's what I do. I have 2 types of layered compression on the master bus. So here we go. We'll start adding just a little bit of, again, this is going to add some more air and just some more excitement, I think, to the cymbals and some of the snare overtones. Right. Again, it's just like, oh, someone else opened a window. Like just a little more fresh air comes in, a little more sizzle, a little more things start to happen. Like you can hear the sizzles from the ride a little more, and just the snare sounds crispier. Again, we're not like cranking EQs like crazy or specific frequencies. It's just kind of like a blend of all these together nicely. I think it adds a nice, it adds some freshness to the top end.